Good evening and welcome then to our coverage as Leeds United's under-21s get their league campaign back underway. That's after a fantastic night in the National League Cup, in where they reached the final just a few days ago on Tuesday. But Leeds still have some business to deal with in PL2. We can get to that in a short moment. So myself, Tom Hill and Andy Cousins bringing you all the action once again. Delighted to be joined by Andy to try and dissect what will hopefully be another Leeds United success. So Leeds, in terms of their team, Scott Gardner has gone with Rory Mahady in goal. Will Firth gets a start, the young 18s right back in the number 2 shirt. It's then James Debayo, Chris Moore and Connor Ferguson. Diogo Monteiro, Oliver Pickles, Joe Richards, Harvey Vincent, Brooklyn Nfonkeu and Connor Douglas will captain the team tonight. Gardner's bench is Owen Grainger, Jacob Howard, Oliver Boast, Josh McDonald and Elton Simo. As for our visitors, they go with Fisher, Dede, Samuels, Sykes, McCormick, James, Lennon, McCabe, Finch, Stott and Acheampong. As for Mark Tinkler's bench, it's Elliott, Patterson-Powell, Lindo, Palmer and Harrison. In terms of league positions, Leeds are sat 16th ahead of kick-off, and they've got to keep winning. They're in the final playoff spot in the new revamped PL2. Of course, a few years ago, that wouldn't have been a position they could have finished in. There was 2 divisions just a few years ago, but now the top 16 in the PL2 go into a playoff bracket. Leeds are 16th, and the likes of Liverpool, Nottingham Forest and West Brom around them all have games in hand. Leeds end their campaign against Liverpool next Sunday. But Connor Douglas and the rest of the Leeds players are ready. Andy Cousins, as I said, delighted to be joined by yourself. Tuesday was a bit of a slog at times, and I said that with respect. Scott Gardner talked about it in his post-match comments about how the players had to not only play some fancy football, they had to grind out a result against a very big and powerful Altrincham team. Tonight, you've got to handle that mentally. You can't build on the high and then not carry it on into the league. Youth football is about learning that. Let's hope, fingers crossed, tonight the players can deliver.
Absolutely. I think the other night they were fantastic from start to finish. They showed the character. They played the ball around the football pitch really, really well. You know, tonight's a different thing. It's, you know, a quick turnaround. You know, a slightly different team. You know, there's a few people missing from the other night as well. But look, it's set up for another good night. You know, the boys have got to really show the manager what they can do, because games do come thick and fast in professional football, and no matter what you're playing, if you're playing in, you know, against a youth team, or if you're playing against you know, men like we did the other night against Altrincham, it's you know. But yeah, look, let's get the ball on the ball, which we, you know, what we've done so far. We're getting it on the floor, move it around a little bit. We're up against my old teammate Mark Tinkler tonight, so it'd be nice to put one over on him as well tonight.
Personal for Mr. Cousins alongside me tonight, as Borough nearest challenger is Lennon to try and put the pressure on. Joined in attack by Finch. Interesting to see how Borough do set up tonight. Just like they've got like a midfield 3, as straight away Leeds on the attack. Ferguson to Douglas, who loses his footing. Then he gets in the way of Vincent. Still gets up the captain to try and fire home, only to be cleared off the line. What a cracking start that would have been. It all got a little bit messy though for Leeds. Douglas, incredible reactions. He'd be so frustrated with himself that he couldn't score. He might even get a second bat at the cherry. Ferguson puts it towards Vincent. A last ditch lunge at the far post from the fullback has put Vincent off, and getting to him in fact was Acheampong with a late little shoulder barge. It will be a corner.
It was a great
ball action.
Great ball over, and he's played it into, you know, to him. I don't know how he's missed that, to be perfectly honest with you. He just lost his footing at the really crucial time, but you know, really good positive start from the boys there.
Yeah, delivery towards the near post, flicked away by the head of Stott and put back in by Leeds. Work for Borough to do. Little scoots pass out, and there is no Cresswell or Chadwick in that lineup tonight, who both ran themselves into the ground in that midfield for Leeds. See another replay of the second chance. Richards going for Vincent. It's good defending, in fact, from the Borough number 11.
Yeah, good tracking back by the 11 there, wasn't it? It's he's done his job, which is what he needed to do, and you've got to track back. You've got to do the dirty work as well as the nice work, which is going forward, which is when you are a winger. That's we would call it the doggy work, really, when you're coming back and helping your defender, and he was very much needed then.
Yeah, there's a whole host of deflections. Good luck to the linesman trying to spot who has touched that last. He will say a Borough player. Debayo just lets it come past him. Wanted a pass backwards. That was immediately blocked, so he tries to force it into midfield. Borough force him into a mistake. And it is now the hosts that go back. Looking like they're playing with the back five tonight. The number 3 is he's tucked in alongside. So Prince Acheampong he's playing left wing back, trying to help and support. A bit like what Leeds did on Tuesday night with a floating back 3 and then a 2 wing backs. There is Firth, Leeds' defender, getting in, and good strong challenge. Good to see the other youngsters from the 18s getting a run out tonight. And Firth has had a couple of appearances for the 21s this season, but again, no sign of any team letting up. Even Borough in attack, Andy, have tried to go pretty direct there. They've lost the ball, but it's a sign of what they could be about to show us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've gone, as you said, from the other night to tonight, we've gone from a back 3 with Monteiro going into the middle of the park. Tonight we're down at the. He's just lost it there in the middle of the park, but we've gone to a back 4 a little bit more, and I'm sure that the full-backs will have freedom to go forward, and Monteiro will just come in and sit in there. But we just been a bit sloppy at the minute, just giving the ball back a little bit to Borough.
Yeah, Nfonkeu gets back. It was his pass that got caught, and strong challenge comes in from Pickles, much to the disappointment of Richards alongside him. So Borough come into this on the back of a win over Southampton. They have beaten Liverpool as well, but also lost to Arsenal, Man City and Newcastle in their last 5. There are 9 points separating the two teams ahead of kick-off tonight. Of course, it is the first of 2 meetings with Borough. First team meeting next week as Debayo gets hold of possession, just about to take into the 5th minute. Not too much pressure from the visitors. Debayo just squeezes it past the boot of Finch.
Yeah, they seem to be wanting to play 2 up front. You've got the 9 and the 7 who are playing quite high up for Middlesbrough, so with our 4 at the back, the defending wise, width wise, our full-backs do have to be careful not to really bomb on too much. And if they do bomb on, then Monteiro's got to sit in there and be that third, from the midfielder, just dropping into the back 4 if need be, because when you've got 2 up top, it does mean they're going to go a little bit more direct.
Yeah, back from more. But recover possession in midfield. Picked into the feet of, off to the head of Finch. Could have perhaps just taken a step back and chest or controlled the ball to a teammate, but it's that communication that was missing for Borough. Good work from Richards, putting the pressure on alongside Douglas, and it is Richards getting back now. Douglas likewise, and the durability of Douglas. We always try and reference when the players are playing out of position. Officially, Conor Douglas is probably still out of position. He is a winger by trade, and number 9 isn't the end of the world for him. Wing back, not as luxurious, but that's where he's played the last 2 games. Has just seen Rory Mahady give a bit of a telling off to a teammate further down the pitch as Vincent tries a trick, and he's gone out to his more regular spot on the wing.
But the thing is, it's youth team football, and the manager, wants to and does need to, make sure that people can play all over the place. Because, I go back to my day, I played right back all the way through. I ended up playing midfield the majority of my first team games, and I didn't really play that until I got into the reserves, to be perfectly honest with you. So managers do see different things. You know, they've been working with you for a long time. They kind of see that, you know, do you know what, he might actually be able to work, you know, up, you know, midfield, or, you know, a centre forward or a right winger, a bit like what we saw with Cresswell the other night. He's gone from centre half into midfield and was different class on Tuesday. So managers will be working out, as I said on Tuesday, that it's this time of year when we've got to see if these guys are good enough, you know, to go forward, and that's the thing. They've got to impress not just their own manager, they've got to impress, you know, other people if they're going to be released from Leeds, you know, and if they're playing in a different position, it kind of gives them a different option as well when people are looking at them. So, you know, look, you've just got to do your bit. Wherever the manager picks you, you need to play in that position, do your best. Yes, it's a great experience for them.
And Leeds have had plenty of that. Chris Moore's been back at centre-back for the last few weeks, but even he's had spells as a wing-back, and in a rather quite jokey matter in which Ben Parker still can't get over it. Played up front for 5 minutes when Leeds were chasing a game. Here is the experienced centre-half, now trying to pick the pass. Plays it wide. It just puts a little bit too much on it.
He couldn't play centre-forward, you know.
Yeah, he often
wished he was a centre forward. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, he's just got experience of left backs. Yeah. That's his bread and butter.
I just spoke to him this morning. He's out sunning himself in Australia, but he's always on good form. Is Ben? So
here's Kumbura in possession. Little touch needed by Leeds, and Vincent. Well, he got it, just wasn't strong enough. Firth will win. Well, Leeds will win a throw. Firth can try and take it. Not too much of a rush from Leeds, just finding their rhythm. Of course, it's a different formation to come up against. They've done the analysis in the build-up, but back five's not as commonplace as they used to be, as Moore goes back to Mahady, and he will survey the field and decides to go long instead of playing it short. He was looking for Firth. Douglas joins in, and idea was right, just put a bit too much power on it. I think if Firth had been hooking the touchline there was an out ball.
But again, you can see the fullbacks want to get forward, and then we've got to just be careful at the back, as I said, because they are playing two up top. So, you know, we want our fullbacks to go forward, but we also need the other fullback to be tucking in round the back, which is what Ferguson's doing. I was impressed with him the other night. You know, Ferguson, every time I've watched him, I've been quite impressed with him. Tonight, it's going to be totally different. He's got a little bit more time on the ball. He can pick passes out a little bit, you know, because there's nobody really on him. So the fullbacks are an out ball. And, you know, it'd be interesting to see how he goes tonight, because, as I said, I've been very impressed with him this season so far.
Back into Mahady. Plays it into space where Firth was just about to come inside. It's a pass to Debayo, looking for Richards. Leeds just on all occasions there misplacing the pass. Borough likewise, but Nfonkeu gets to it first. Now releases Douglas. Quick glance over the shoulder to see what support he has. It is a hanging cross to the far post, looking for Pickles. Heads up and over the bar. And Pickles, good support play, you would say. Yes, the execution is off, but he wasn't in those front two mentioned. He's actually inside Leeds' half, not even past the centre circle when that pass is intercepted. So yeah, great running.
He does well, does Nfonkeu there, and then he just takes that ball a little bit with his first touch a little bit wide. You know, maybe on that first touch he could have gone towards the goal a little bit and have that goal-scoring instinct and possibly get that shot off nice and early, but the first touch took him a little bit wide. You know, but a good ball in. You know, again, good play. You know, we're making the chances going forward. You can tell the difference from Tuesday night. It's a lot slower. It's not as physical. You can see that. You know, so the lads have to adapt a little bit more to it. As we said, you know, Tom, beforehand, you know, it's a different test for them tonight, which you know, which is really good for the manager to see, because it is a character, you know, side of how the lads come. But this is a decent position for Middlesbrough. We've got most people back there, but you know, it's going to be an outswinger over the penalty spot area. You know, this is where your centre halves and everybody else, you know, back there just needs to talk to each other.
Free kick, one foul by Monteiro on Lennon. Not that he agreed with it. To the far post it goes. Monteiro gets up to make a telling contribution. Richards running across towards the touchline, gets back. Goes back to Ferguson, who doesn't get the height on the clearance. Still works out okay for Leeds, who nearly intercepted in what would have been a big moment for them. And Nfonkeu now driving at his opposite number, and you can see two very similar players in height, but not in strength there.
Pace.
Nfonkeu just wrestled the ball free, but in fairness to Prince Acheampong, he wins it straight back.
Yeah, I thought he got a little niggle there on the back as well. I think he did as well. And the referee just let it go. I don't think he'll be as lenient as what he was on Tuesday night, the referee this time. I think there was a few challenges on Tuesday which the lads loved having that opportunity to actually, have a physical game.
Yeah, Firth back to Mahady. Not the easiest pass to assess, but he just lets the spin on the ball die down a little bit before playing it out to the left. And again, first time to Debayo. Letting a willing runner, but the Borough 7 unable to get close. Leeds again, though, taking risks. The number 6 now joins in Daniel James. No, he hasn't moved clubs ahead of Luton. Here is Richards. He goes to ground. Borough think that's a fair challenge. It is Acheampong again, just getting in 50-50. That time he was a bit stronger in the challenge. And Richards goes to ground. And yeah, I didn't see much in that yourself.
No, not at all. I thought he actually got a little bit of the ball, to be perfectly honest with you. But you can't tackle from behind nowadays, can you? So, the referees see it quite simply. If you're coming in from behind, even if you get some of the ball now, you get sent off unless you're Tchaikovsky or whatever his name is from. Call him that from Everton. Against Liverpool the other night. I don't know if you saw that one, but how that wasn't a red card, I do not know. But hopefully we've got VAR coming next year in the first team, and we've got the pleasures of that next year. But look, he got a little bit of him there. You cannot go through the back of him. You've got to hold them up a little bit more. In this football, really, it's as soon as you go to ground nowadays, the referees just want to give you a free kick, don't they?
Yeah, certainly so. As Borough playing out from the back, bypass Nfonkeu. Pickles gets a toe to the ball. He had a telling contribution in the previous round of the National League Cup in the quarters with a goal thumped into the back of the net. Really good performance from him. And again, a player that you may feel that even certainly next season will get more minutes in the 21s as Debayo goes sideways to Moore. Monteiro's dropped into the left side of defence, very similar to what Cresswell does when he's playing in the central midfield spot. These give the ball away, and Nfonkeu gives the number 9 a nudge, and it's an easy free kick for the referee to give. Sonny Finch upended. And again,
no need to give it that.
Did he need to do it?
No need to get. He's got the pace.
He's about to beat him.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the pace, and he knows he's got the pace. But as soon as you lift your arm and just have a little nudge in the back, the players now know that. And he was struggling there a little bit. He knew that he had some pace coming behind him, and as soon as he felt that go down, he's going to go down and get the free kick. It's a long 10 yards, mind.
It's a great, yeah. It's a very long 10 yards.
It's a very long 10 yards.
Vincent's just checking the spray, almost to second guess himself as the delivery into the head of a Borough defender. Corner appeals from George McCormick, ignored by the officials as Mahady, that desperate to go long, slips as he plays it out to Vincent, but he will win his team a throw-in. And
yeah, I don't mind that. I said it again. I've said it before. I don't mind it from the keeper when he sees somebody like that. We've got Vincent there who's got a bit of pace behind him as well. He's one-on-one if it goes out there, but it's just taken all the pressure off. I don't like it sometimes when you're playing out from the back, all the time. If you see that ball forward and it's there to be done, then do it.
Borough win the ball back from Firth, progressing nicely downfield, only for a good strong challenge from Pickles. And he now gets back on the ball, the number 8. It was McCabe progressing first of all for Borough. Now Ferguson collects, nearly 17 minutes gone. Barring a rather lively start for Leeds, haven't had too much for either goalkeeper to do. Yeah, Middlesbrough joining us here. It was Conor Douglas that had a chance early doors.
Yeah, Middlesbrough just got back into it a little bit, haven't they? They've kind of got their shape. They've kind of worked out, how we're wanting to play. But we had a great chance in that first 30 seconds, minute. They're the ones you need to take. It is a great opportunity.
Nfonkeu escapes and gets away. Now lofts it over the top to Vincent beautifully. He might do the same. It's effortless from Vincent. Hits the crossbar. So unfortunate. I think he was about to wheel away. Everybody inside the LNER Community Stadium thought that was going in. And what a goal that would have been. 2 lofted passes, inch perfect, or was it? And at the last second it turned out it wasn't. And that is desperately unlucky for Leeds United.
Yeah, it's a great ball in. It's exactly what he wants to do. He's just been really unlucky. The pitch is so bouncy. It's bounced up onto the crossbar. You know, he'd done the right thing. I was in my own head, I'm thinking, just lob the keeper. He's miles out. He did everything right there. Just didn't quite get the bounce, you know, going through. But a great ball, you know, as well from you know, number 11, Nfonkeu. You know, he's causing a few problems in there. He's got a lot of pace, but his vision there was spot on as well. And you know, pity we just didn't get that little bit of luck. 'Cause I think that one was a bit like that. It was just a big bounce on a
drying pitch. Maybe if that's mid-January, we don't have the same issue. But it is what it is. They move on. But yeah, good to see Brooklyn Nfonkeu. He's just showing a little bit burst of ability, just cutting in off the left edge. And
it just looks like he's got raw pace, doesn't he? And that's a scary thing for any defender. And you know, he's definitely, you know, causing them problems. He just needs to think a little bit about when, you know, he's defending, you know, of where he is, because he's got the pace to be able to get himself back out of trouble.
Good defending from Firth, and stood his ground, timed his tackle to perfection. It is a corner to Borough.
Always on corners, you just got to get yourself organised. They've all done the work beforehand. They've all had their instructions. They'll have certain areas of where they need to be stood, and you know, you need your centre halves and your keeper now to go and command that penalty area.
Dangerous delivery, only for Monteiro to stoop and head it clear. Acheampong puts it back into a danger zone. Monteiro again gets out of defence and works his way forward, only for Borough to retrieve possession. That is mainly down to the fact that Leeds had no players forward. Acheampong again inside to Sykes, in turn to McCormick, and now across the defence to Dede. Sun just setting at the LNER Community Stadium as Leeds give away a free kick. Debayo stepping up to bring down what looks like Charlie Lennon in the 7 jersey, who again, like Nfonkeu, is just drifting in off the flank, causing problems. And it's an essential position where you'd feel it's awkward to cross, but it's still something for Leeds to have to deal with, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you've just got to kind of concentrate again. These are things which they've gone through beforehand. It's a soft free kick, to be perfectly honest with you. But it is a position for Middlesbrough which they would have worked on as well. On set pieces, everybody's always a threat when you're on a set piece, especially when you're 30 yards out.
Take it short. Now put the lofted ball in. Missed by a few Leeds players. Douglas gets a toe to it. Likewise Firth. And Nfonkeu, according to Borough, left a challenge in late, and the referee agrees. Josh Dede staying down. There was definitely contact, whether it was suffice enough for a free kick, but Borough, just the last few instances, are just getting the calls from the official. Another early ball into the box, a dangerous one. Mahady has to be alert, and is, and that is often why he could be so effective coming off the 6-yard line or off his own goal line. And he had to be alert, because I think the number 11's getting to it. Yeah,
absolutely. But your keeper's always got to be alert in that area, because they are like your sweeper. The way we play, the way he likes to play as well. He likes to have the ball at his feet. You know, he feels very comfortable there. So he is that sweeper, picking up all the bits and takes all the pressure away from the centre halves and the defenders. You know, when he does come out and just take that pressure out. But it's quite scrappy, isn't it? You know, the ball's bouncing around all over the place. You know, Middlesbrough not really getting hold of it. You know, it is a bit of a scrappy kind of last 10 minutes. You know, we know Leeds can play football. We know we can get it on the floor, and that's what we're trying to do. But, you know, Middlesbrough are trying to get on top of us and make it difficult for us at the minute.
It's not back by Borough. To the 6-yard box, in which Douglas will chase it down. The captain leading by example. Good header from Firth, not only wins the duel, but gives it to Vincent. He couldn't do the same. Firth nips in again. And this time tries to cushion it into Pickles. Now has to stand his ground. Really big 30 seconds for Will Firth, who stood his ground on 3 occasions. Pickles is intercepted. Falls back to Monteiro, who finds Ferguson, and Nfonkeu will have several red shirts to beat, but he will do it with a very calm back heel to Ferguson, who tries to put it on a plate for Douglas, and the goalkeeper Nathan Fisher comes off his line to avert the danger. But again, we had a difference in styles. We had Will Firth's no quit style of just never say die, putting himself in the right position. Then we had Nfonkeu with a fancy flick, and it had a nice difference to it, and it helped Leeds progress.
Yeah, some good play down the left-hand side. You know, a good ball in as well, but just didn't have somebody across that front post really, and the keeper. It was quite an easy catch for him, but really, really good play down the left-hand side. As I say, you know, I've been impressed with Ferguson. He does like to bomb forward as well. He's got to do the defending side of it and the dirty work, but going forward, he's a big threat for Leeds in that sense. And you know, he does. But you can see the ball's just bouncing that little bit more. You know, Vincent's had it a few times where it's come into him and it's just bounced up to his chest, and it's hard to get it under control. You know, it is a tough pitch to be playing on. The other night was tough because of it was cutting up so much. This is tough because it's just dry and it's bouncing all over the place. So their first touch has to be spot on every time. When they're passing it into feet, get hold of it. 1 touch, 2 touch kind of football. It is bobbling around a little bit at the minute.
Monteiro gets in. Pickles, and Nfonkeu just has to peel away at the far post. Ferguson has a glance at goal, tries to. There is the bobble that Andy was speaking about. Keeper's come off his line. Vincent goes to ground. Is there enough in that? Leeds appealing, and only to be denied. Goal kick given by the official, and frustration. Took a risk there, the keeper. It's one that paid off. Do you agree?
I don't know. From this angle itself, it's a good ball in. I think he gets the ball there. I think Vincent gets the ball and the keeper takes him out, personally. I think that's a penalty. If it's in the box, if it's not in the box, it's certainly a free kick. You know, he's given a goal kick, which means that the referee's already seen that Vincent's got the ball. For me, the keeper's taking a little bit of Vincent out as well there. So for me, that's a penalty, or it's certainly a free kick on the edge of the box.
Borough coming forward. Simple pass really down the line into Acheampong. Pickles and Firth combine to get it back, working in very tight spaces to get it away. We're going to throw in off the deflection.
Here we go again. Yeah, I think he's got a piece of him there. The referee looks like he's in a decent position as well, but you know, he decided against it. He must have seen something slightly different to what we've seen in our angle. But you know, for me personally, I think it looks like he's got a touch. You know, of the man as well, and we've definitely got the ball first because he's given a goal kick. So, you know, all in all, I would say that was definitely a penalty come free kick in that area. Mahady. What do you think, Tom?
First glance, I thought it was okay, but the more I've seen of it, I think you might be right. Has he gone through Vincent to get to the ball as well, perhaps? Obviously, if it is outside the box, he's handled it outside, so... And of course we are also biased, so yes, it's a penalty. Yeah. One ball over the top to break off because Finch is trying to get to it, but he stopped thanks to a good bit of work from Moore defensively. They're only picked up by Borough, who have been very happy to go early and direct to the edge of the box. Acheampong puts some loft on this pass, knocks back inside to Lennon. He's trying to dribble his way past Pickles, rise the challenge of 2. Still going Lennon, back to his winger Acheampong, who's going to have to try and beat Vincent, and Vincent digs in to force him back into midfield. But this man's getting a bit more joy. James starting to have more of an effect on the game with 20 minutes left. Borough certainly getting more of the second ball once Leeds clear. That back 3 for Borough often mopping up as they play it into the channel. Intercepted though by Leeds defensively. Pretty good work back there as Nfonkeu feints to clear. That gives him the breathing space he needed. Into Richards, now into Monteiro. Good work from Douglas as well, and now he's got away. And options to play it centrally. Into Pickles, just cut out at the death as Richards picks up the pieces. Now out to Firth. Douglas is trying to get away from his marker at the far post. Into Richards. He carries on in possession, lays it to Monteiro. Unlikely players in those positions. Ferguson even more so on his right foot, and it is deflected away. And I mean, Leeds, as you said earlier, Andy, no matter what position you're told to play him, Richards is a fullback. He's in the 10. Monteiro's the next person shooting. You wouldn't have any of those on your bingo card, but here we are.
Absolutely, some great play though. We played it out from the back nicely, and we ended up getting, into a position, where we actually, could have quite easily, scored again. It's some good play. And then the ricochet came back to, to us again, and we had another opportunity, but we need to take one now. We've had 3 or 4 half decent chances, 2 really good chances, possible penalty, but we've got to take one of these chances, because otherwise you kind of think, is it going to be our night?
Yeah, high hanging ball headed back inside by Moore. There's Monteiro, tries a second
great chance
flick. What an opportunity it was. Pickles again, lovely ball in, another chance for Moore. If it bounces for him, it won't. It will be another corner, and Chris Moore looks skywards and asks Monteiro, who apologises, and the 2 centre halves could have combined for an assist and a goal. And never like to say that a player should be scoring when they've got more ability in their little toe than I have. But is that easier to miss for Monteiro, who's got a few goals this year?
I don't know. I think somebody's trying to catch his leg. It's still coming down with that swing, and he's missed it that well. You'd expect him to get hold of it and put it on target in one way, shape or form, because it was a decent chance. Again, it's another really good opportunity, isn't it? And we are, making them. We've got to be able to take them, and that's the thing. It doesn't matter how well you play, doesn't matter how you build up pace or anything else like that. You've got to put the ball in the back of the net. It doesn't matter how many chances you make, it doesn't matter where it comes from. We made 3 or 4 really good chances, and as I said before, we need to just put one of these chances now away, and get that lead, and then we can build on that.
Firth into the feet of Douglas, just bounces off his thigh. Monteiro trying to dispossess Finch, who goes down the line for Lennon. Moore stands up strong, flicks the ball away. Debayo plays for safety, didn't fancy trying to hook it down the line.
It's not a bad thing though, is it? A centre half sometimes, you just put it out of play, instead of having to try and play too much, or you don't feel it's going to come down, you're going to be able to get it out, knock it out, reset, get everybody back into position, and then we can win the ball back, and then we can play from there.
Vincent in a tussle, gets a slight knock, will win a free kick. Referee did not want to let that go. Richards looked to take it quickly, was never on. Firth into Debayo, who strides out of defence. Little scoop pass to Moore. Mahady bypasses Debayo, goes wide to Firth. Still going, Debayo, and across the box to Moore, who wanted a short option. I think both Nfonkeu and Ferguson made the same run. Pickles now picks out Nfonkeu. Rather than go short, goes cross field, or as best he could. It went astray. Ferguson tries to nip in, win the ball high up the pitch. Referee said that challenge was too powerful. I wouldn't say the element of two-footedness, but it was more of like a standing on the ball motion, which is easier for an official to spot.
Yeah, and when it goes down on your leg as well, it can hurt. Kind of like your little studs coming down there. But just going to Debayo, I was critical of him early in the year with too many touches all the time. Every time he got hold of the ball, it seemed to want to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touches. He seems to be now, learning, his trade a little bit more, than knowing that, he's very comfortable on the ball. We know that he's very confident, lad in that sense as well, but he's only playing 2 or 3 touches, which is really, really good, because it makes the whole picture for everybody just change all the time. Fonkos, yeah, that was free kick there. But it changes the pitch all the time. If he keeps holding the ball too long, people are coming short, then they have to disappear off because he's having too many touches. But the last 3 or 4 games he's been absolutely superb back there. You can see why he's knocking on the door of the first team. Because he's not shy, is he? He's full of confidence. He's ready to play. Just hope his confidence doesn't overrun sometimes, and he tries that wonder ball and it gets cut out. That's my only concern.
Possession goes into Monteiro, who rolls it to Richards. Back to Debayo, and Nfonkeu was asking for it.
It's like these positions here, he's very good at going in, but like a few months back, he'd have taken another 2 touches there and he'd gone a bit further forward, which then gives them chances. Now he does want to play it a little bit early, like a little Cruyff turn there. I'm not too sure about that, but he's full of confidence.
Yeah, he took a big risk as Douglas drops into right wing back, going back to his former patch from Tuesday to help out. Firth goes to Mahady, who I think there was a slight breakdown there because Firth wanted to play it to his right foot, lost his bearings of his keeper. Heavy touch from Moore, who took his eye off the ball. Now getting back is Monteiro. Pickles injects a bit of pace to get to it as well, and the 2 number 8s try to wrestle the ball away from each other. Good work from Pickles, who quietly goes about his work in midfield. Very effective. Covers ground very quickly. And up against McCabe on that occasion, he came out on top as Borough play it inside. McCabe pokes it down the line, this time for Dede, who cuts it in, looking for Lennon. Good work from Ferguson to intercept. Borough get the ball back. They beat Nfonkeu to the ball as well. McCabe still going. Ball played into the channel. Moore allows Mahady to come get it. And it is under control again from Leeds. But I wouldn't say Leeds have ever had full domination of the game, would you, Andy? They've had a great start. They've had chances to score. When they have got close in the final third, they've created some meaningful opportunities. But in fairness to Borough, would you say that it's more of an even game than we would like? We'll break off because that could change as Vincent tries to get to the ball. Instead, it is behind for a goal kick. But yeah, Borough are certainly not looking like a team that are 9 points behind.
No, in the last 10 minutes they've got into the game a little bit more. We'd had a lot of possession before that. Possession. We're still higher on the possession than what Middlesbrough are, but they're getting back into the game a little bit. They've got their shape. They know what Leeds' shape is going to be. They know the jobs a little bit more now as well. But yeah, Middlesbrough are definitely coming back into it. Obviously we've got a few players out as well. I'm guessing there'll be a few who are injured, and also a few maybe with the first team going down to Luton for tomorrow. But this is under 21 football. The teams change week in, week out. But look, Middlesbrough are doing all right at the minute. They're working hard. What we need to do is when teams work this hard, sometimes you just keep moving that football and they'll tire. And then we'll have to take that risk in the second half a little bit more where they have tired, and we can the opportunities will open up for us, hopefully. We've made some really good chances in this first half. We just haven't taken them. Just need to be a little bit more clinical in front of goal at the minute.
Yeah, it's back to Debayo, who goes across to Mahady. Debayo striding out of defence, cuts through the entire midfield. The pass to Monteiro, looking for Ferguson. Those two not on the same page. Ferguson had cut in. He will inject a bit of pace to try and get to Dede though, but you can see by that arm signal where he wanted the ball to go, and it wasn't out wide.
No, he wanted that a bit more central, didn't he? He'd made the run from left back, inside a little bit, and sometimes you just pick it up and you automatically think that your fullback's out on the wing, and he didn't really look up and see the move which he'd made, which was a good one because he was in front of his player, to be fair, down that left-hand side, and I'm not saying he would have been in, but a bit more of a central ball, he might well have had a bit more success.
Ferguson controls possession, has Nfonkeu Douglas. It's Douglas that tells him with the left hand to go back to Pickles. And Monteiro telling him to go wide right. This time he ignores that call. Leeds keep ticking over, but haven't had as much joy to be able to get in behind Borough. Of course, a back five will do that. little spacey between the wing backs and the centre halves. Debayo to Pickles. Bobbling ball to Nfonkeu. Just sends it straight back to his centre half.
You can see Borough have got a shape, making it very difficult for us to break them down, and each player is in with them. But this is where your fullbacks kind of do really come important, because your fullbacks can and your wingers can just change the shape again. Just go inside a little bit. You can see there Ferguson's got a bit of space on that side. If your winger's out there and he comes in a little bit, it opens that space up for the fullback then to get in round the back. But you can see Middlesbrough very well organised, very well set up, making it very difficult for us to break them down at the minute.
Yeah, it was good work by Pickles that, Andy was talking. Vincent lost possession. Pickles just quick step or two to close down the space, won it back, and this is why Leeds are still in possession as Douglas shapes to go on a run. Drops in as Firth instead goes to Richards. Douglas still the second furthest forward player. It's Ferguson on the far left wing that is trying to drag Middlesbrough's defence out. Mahady.
There's our sweeper. And this is where the keeper is coming into play, because he does become that sweeper at the back, and he becomes that extra man just in case, like there Debayo had, nobody really to pass to, so his keeper came in, and did that again. It was good because, again, he would be somebody who would hold onto that ball 3 or 4 or 5 passes. Well, now he's 2 or 3 passes, well, I ain't got anything on, I'll pass it back to the keeper, I'll move off to the right, get it back off him, and then we can play from there. So, this is where the keeper, when they are so good on the floor, because Mahady is good on the floor, we know that. Maybe a bit too confident on the floor as well, but it gives you that other option when people like, the team like Middlesbrough, are working hard, and the shape is, being very disciplined with their shape. So, making it very difficult for Leeds to break them down.
Yeah, Debayo with a pull on the shorts of Charlie Lennon. Don't think Borough's team are happy with the lack of progress from the free kick. They had several chances to go early, and then after all that delay, just give the ball back to Leeds. Vincent runs into trouble, wins a free kick.
Soft one, if I would say, that one. I think he got the ball there quite easily, but we'll take it, won't we? We'll take a free kick in them situations, because they were putting the pressure on us again. But you can see how well they're organised. They are following everybody. They're working hard, to keep the possession in our back four. We just need to find that little bit of space, within the between the two, the midfield and the forward line.
Yeah, looping ball over the top, picking out Nfonkeu, who dribbles his way further down the line, rolls it into Pickles, picks him out. Now Richards, he's got Firth alongside him. Firth has a quick glance inside, instead goes to Vincent. Vincent towards the byline, will now try and drag out the cross. He will. It was going inside the post, but good covering work from Fisher. Stops there any danger. With 5 minutes left, it is still goalless. Leeds' best move for a while. It has been a lot more stop-start.
It has, and that, as you said, that was a lot better from Leeds' point of view, and he got down the byline, just the ball itself. The angle got tighter and tighter and tighter the further he went down, towards the byline, and very, very easy for the keeper just to pick that one out and start them on a nice, easy kind of attack from that point onwards. But look, it's been good from Leeds in patches. It's been good for Middlesbrough in their breaking down and their work rate. But I think on our point of view, Leeds should be 1 or 2-0 up. With the chances that we've made some fantastic chances, even though we haven't made anything really in the last 5 or 10 minutes. But we have made them chances, and we should have put some of them away. We are at the minute, for me, by far the better team, and you can see the quality is more in Leeds' favour than what Middlesbrough is. But it's still 0-0, and you've got to go back to, we've got to put these chances away when they come about.
into Finch, gets away. Played back into midfield, and support player coming in from a deeper position, an ambitious shot. And Oliver Samuels goes for goal. And you spoke about being a full-back back in your day, Andy. If you're in that position, are you doing the same thing?
No. No, to be fair, well, certainly not on my left foot anyhow. But no, I think if you're a full-back, for me, your full-back positions, that's a poor ball back, puts under pressure. If you're a full-back for me now, the game is totally different to back in our day. You know, my hero was Mel Sterling. I thought, you know, how Mel Sterling was, as a full-back was unbelievable. He was up and down. He scored goals. He crossed the ball, and that's kind of the way I like to see a full-back. And you know, we do have it now, but we like to, instead of putting the ball into the box sometimes and getting it out wide and put it into dangerous areas, we want to, you know, we do want to play that perfect pass and we want to make that perfect goal. So, you know, certainly for me, I wasn't, you know, renowned for scoring any goals in that sense, and certainly not with my left foot, like you kind of, you know, alluding to there. But I think as a fullback, you want to be creating, but you need to be, you know, going forward. You need to do the hard work, which is the defending, which is your number one job. But nowadays, if you look at our fullbacks in the first team, with Bogle and Firth, their first jobs really are, you know, on the attacking situation. They're very important in our you know, attacking formation really.
Just break off because Monteiro went down there. I think he thought perhaps he was tripped.
I thought he might have got injured there as well. The way he went down,
wasn't it? Was a nerve-wracking moment for Leeds, but thankfully he's at the heart of that midfield again. Maybe been Chris Bowen, perhaps. So my apologies for that. But yeah, the way that the player went down, really sharply. Quick glance at the referee. Borough continue, try and use it as an advantage that they've got the ball back. Here is Samuels, the latest player for Borough to have a shot towards goal. Now he goes for the percentage ball down the line to Lennon, who runs into Vincent. That should be a Leeds throw, and it will be. Charlie Lennon used the old ideology to try and calm the ref there. Yeah, there's no contact from Borough.
Yeah, it just looked like he went down quite awkwardly, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought something had gone in the leg, but the way he looked at the ref was then to suggest that he'd been pushed or tripped, but no, it's just an awkward fall from a loss of balance. Thankfully, Chris Moore is back up on his feet. Here is Richards with a scooped pass, looking to a bit of empty space. And the referee decides that is that. It has been a half of very little action. Without stoppage time, it tells you all you need to know. Leeds and Borough goalless at the break. Join us soon for second half coverage. Welcome back then to LUTV's coverage. The second half is about to get underway. We appear to be unchanged at the LNER Community Stadium, with the two teams locked at 0-0. It was a first half in which Leeds certainly had plenty of positive play. Arguably should have scored inside the first minute. Conor Douglas falling over when trying to shoot. Diogo Monteiro has missed an open net when trying to smash the ball home. But to their credit, Borough were an awkward team to break down. This back five formation they've utilised as they've given away a free kick has caused Leeds issues trying to get behind them. Leeds go with Mahady, Firth, Ferguson, Monteiro, Debayo, Moore, Vincent, Pickles, Douglas, Richards and Nfonkeu. The bench for Scott Gardner is Grainger, Howard, Boast, McDonald and Simo. And as for Middlesbrough, Fisher, Dede, Samuels, Sykes, McCormick, James, Lennon, McCabe, Finch, Stott and Acheampong. And the bench for Borough is Elliott, Patterson-Powell, Lindo, Palmer and Harrison. Myself, Tom Hill and Andy Cousins are bringing you all the action. We're having a quick chat at half-time, Andy, about the game, and you certainly felt that they should have been in front. Leeds. While they didn't have total domination, it was more the chances they did create that made you feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought they created 3 or 4 really good chances, didn't they? You know, the one in the first minute or so was the main one, but they made some other really good chances in there, and we've got to take them, because Tinks would have had them in there at half time at Middlesbrough, and he would have geared them up again and got them kind of they've been very solid at Middlesbrough, and I think that's the thing which we're trying to break them down and we're struggling to break them down in that sense. We've created 3 or 4 chances, but there's not really been much Middlesbrough are going to give us in the midfield, and not going to give us much, going forward in that sense. They're looking for these kind of opportunities now, which we've got now, which is a free kick on the right hand side here with a ball going in, and try and get something from that. But we should be up definitely, in that first half with the chances that we created.
McCabe delivered from a free kick. Firth heads clear. Pickles also sends it on its way towards Richards. Can't turn it around the corner, and intercepted by Borough, who would have it with McCormick. Firth gets in again. Works himself out of what was a very tight squeeze as Vincent tried to pick out Monteiro, just forced to pass a little. Ball is out for a corner ball.
Yeah, Middlesbrough started on the front foot, haven't they? This second half, they're trying to play it a little bit more down the sides. That's what I think. Just saying, just flick it down the side. The opportunity's there. They definitely started this second half a little bit more, on the front foot than they did in the first half.
Yeah, delivery to the near post. This time Moore gets up. There will be a shooting opportunity for McCabe. Puts his foot through it. Mahady was underneath it. And the Leeds goalkeeper knew all the time that was covered. I've noticed a few times here where Leeds have got an opportunity to put the ball down for Mahady. Monteiro backheeled it dead to kill it, so then Mahady could, in theory, run from behind his goal and take a quick goal kick. It's quite the game plan. Mahady's not happy at Ferguson's decision to try and backheel it up the line.
It's a dodgy ball for him as well, though, wasn't it? He was running back onto it. The keeper there, he's having a go at his fullback. His fullback's saying sorry. It's his fault. He's flicked it out. But in the first place, for me, it's not the best ball from the keeper to be passing out there where your left back's actually running back towards your own goal, and he's having to try and play, something off his back heel. Miss him out, go forward, go further forward if need be, than just than putting somebody under a bit of pressure. In that sense, because Middlesbrough as I said, they've started on the front foot, and they're trying to push us backwards towards our own goal, and particularly when Mahady's got the ball, they're very tight to every person on the football pitch.
Moore just drops in to the right centre back. Leeds pushed across the pitch there. Here is Debayo, back to his goalkeeper, who has Ferguson and Pickles to his left. Forced a mistake though. Mahady plays it short to Moore. Lennon nips in. Stott on the edge of the area in the number 10 jersey. He ignores him. Firth gets goal side to stop Stott getting the ball, and Vincent does the same. As Firth receives possession and can now go back to Debayo. Mahady this time puts his foot through it to clear. Douglas nowhere near it. Wasn't expecting that ball. Firth up towards Douglas. That's a good flick on from the Leeds number 9. Having to do so much tireless work up there without much reward. He gets it back. He goes early looking for Nfonkeu. Just try to put Borough on the back foot. Stott turns it round the corner to Finch, but a player goes down. Debayo, Mahady races off his line. All got very end-to-end there for a second.
It did.
I say hindsight's wonderful. Of course, Douglas didn't have to play that pass, but had it come off, he catches everyone out for Borough, so you can see why he played it.
Yeah, absolutely. But, good play from the back, really. We've worked our way forward. Again, it shows what Middlesbrough are like. They're trying to keep on top of us, and they had a chance just beforehand. Nfonkeu here is down the left-hand side. He's come back there, but he's definitely got some pace down there, and I'd be giving him a bit of a foot race against their full-back there, without a shadow of a doubt, because I think he's definitely got the beating of him. But sometimes we've got to. I've said it too many times that sometimes we have to go long. We've got to miss that person out. We put ourselves under pressure sometimes at the back when we're trying to play it out from the back in really tight areas. Sometimes you've got to make that decision and put the foot through it and work up in their half and pick up the little bits. Takes the pressure off everybody then.
Here is Nfonkeu to Pickles into Richards. I think the pass was intended for Douglas. Perhaps explains the heavy touch. Moore watches it, has to be careful. Gets a slight toe to the ball to order to force it for a throw. It took a deflection off the chest of Sonny Finch. And I think Chris Moore would have been a very happy centre-half to see that ball go out of play.
Yeah, never let it bounce. That's the old saying, you never let it bounce, and he just let it bounce, which put him under pressure. We talked about in the first half, it's a bouncy pitch. It is it's very lively. The ball's not being true just on the floor, but that you just put yourself under a bit more pressure when you let the ball bounce in them areas. And the centre forward straight on top of him again. Middlesbrough trying to box us in a little bit more. You can see they've got 7 players around the ball here, 8 players coming in now. They're trying to really get on top of us, but that also creates space for us if we do win the ball back, to get that counter-attack in.
Samuels plays it forward. Firth gets in immediately to try and close down the Borough winger. It's got very scrappy out there. It's a real battle. Referee just lets everything flow and actually gives Borough the advantage to see who did what wrong as Lennon gets to the byline, cuts it back for Finch. Pickles can only clear it towards Stott, who's trying to find the space to manoeuvre a shot. The rebound will fall Borough's way. Mahady's unhappy after a good save down to his right with his one hand. Borough lead in York.
Yeah, really disappointing, isn't it? The keeper's made a great save, to be fair. It's the first one he's had to make. The referee let a little bit go, down that left-hand side, and he's got up there, and they've got a bit of luck here with the ball coming out, but the keeper's made a fantastic save off the first one, and he's on his front foot. We've said it from the first whistle of the second half. Middlesbrough have been right on top of Leeds this second half, and they've tried to put a bit of pressure on our back four, and they've tried to work it a little bit further up the pitch, but it's the first effort I think they've had on goal, and it's disappointing from Leeds' point of view, but now they've got to bounce back. We created some really good chances in the first half. We need to, reset and go again. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a sucker punch for Middlesbrough at that point.
Yeah, it is. Finch with a tap in. First effort coming in from Stott, and to his credit, the number 9 got into the perfect position. He's come off second best there, hurting himself, but they do always say as a forward, follow up your teammates' efforts, get to the keeper, judge where it could have gone as Moore plays a short pass to Ferguson. Leeds caught out here as now they're in behind. Dede across the face of goal. Moore makes amends. Ferguson's kick is out of frustration. That was already going dead. It will be another corner.
Same again, isn't it? You can see that they're putting pressure on us all over the football pitch, and it's making it very, very difficult. We've kept on saying the pitch isn't the best. It's bobbling around, which makes it hard to play out sometimes. Sometimes you've just got to put your foot through it and get it up to the up into their half and pick the bits up there, because Middlesbrough at the minute are right on the front foot, right on top of us, and trying to put as much pressure on that back four as much as they can. And it's been very successful these first 10 minutes.
Ball to the far post, flicks away. Nfonkeu gathers, a little pull on the shirt there. Referee spots the free kick. Leeds needed that, really. Just get a moment's respite. That, in theory, Monteiro just a little reach around the face of Stott, who wasn't appreciative of it. Looking for Nfonkeu, just goes too far in front of him. It's over the head of Monteiro. Richards getting back. Here is Pickles. Little knockdown back from Moore. Mahady into Monteiro, playing with fire because he was marked. As you said, Andy, though, Borough are going all out to put Leeds under pressure. Good work from Douglas again, but it's a lazy pass though. Leeds guilty of doing the same mistake. Dede gets across. Now deflection off Douglas. It will help Moore out, who lays it across, and Leeds are just guilty of falling asleep. It's the same mistake 3 times in a row, but are looking to punish them as they turn away from possession. It's James. Samuels gets it wide. Picks out Sykes. Here's McCabe just putting his foot on the ball. Leeds don't think he'll be too bothered by this. Everybody behind the ball though. Gone in behind again, Borough. Firth gets to a nice position, but he pings it into the feet of Vincent. Leeds making hard work to get out of their own box. Here is Firth. He gets dispossessed. Borough working in numbers. Firth, though, to his credit, fights away on the floor. Back into midfield this time for James. McCabe goes back, but Leeds can still not get a foot on the ball.
Yeah, that bottom corner there was 7 Middlesbrough players, in clear view, and it kind of shows what they're trying to do this second half. They are trying to put pressure on us from the back, and at the minute it's been very successful. I think they'll be making a substitution for, soon. I think will Middlesbrough, because Finch he's holding. I've seen him holding his hamstring a couple of times now, and I think once you start holding something like that, you're not going to be lasting very much longer. But they are right on the front foot of Middlesbrough, and they're really putting the pressure on us. And I just think that Finch has just gone down there, but I just think that we're seeing some bits here, really lax ball across. The number 2's bang onto the top of it. They are working so hard to get hold of the ball, and then we make another mistake. We hands on our knees kind of thing. We've got to be just a little bit more game thoughtful. Sometimes in football, sometimes you have to make a decision, and sometimes you have to miss people out. We all like playing pretty football, but sometimes when it's like this, and Middlesbrough have changed their tactic a little bit, we need to also change our tactic, and maybe pinging it into the front men and getting into the chest, or looking at their feet, missing that midfield out. It just turns Middlesbrough a little bit, and we've got to have an extra man, at that point, because Middlesbrough are playing so high up the football pitch.
Yeah, so 3 players are having a word in front of the subs. That is Firth, Richards and Vincent. They're getting a drink. Scott Gardner's just trying to give a few tactical updates. You could see there on the replays the issues that Leeds have had in possession of late. And as Andy was alluding to, real frustration that for the Whites, I think, just in general, but to do it in succession is disappointing. I'll be asking Andy for the Euro Millions numbers again, because just as he predicted an injury to Sonny Finch, down he goes. We hope he's okay. That was after that heavy fall he had, where he twisted and landed awkwardly. The shirts over the face suggest he's so frustrated.
Yeah, I saw him touch his hamstring a couple of times, and when the physios come on, he's done the hamstring stretch, and if you're feeling anything in your hamstrings, unfortunately, you're going off. He's worked nicely up there to break down our midfield. Our 2 centre halves, and I think that from Leeds' point of view, it's not a bad thing. Because he has worked very hard up there, but it's you feel for the kid. You come into the end of the season. You've got a hamstring injury. It's just not the right time to get injured for somebody who's under 18, under 21,
yeah, with potentially playing for a future.
Your future's in your hands, yeah, absolutely.
So he's going to be replaced by Bailey Palmer in the 15 jersey. So our thoughts are with Sonny Finch, we say all the time, you never want to see a player injured, and a Leeds sub is going to see the winger Josh McDonald coming on, and he is replaced by Will Firth. Vice versa. Josh McDonald will replace Will Firth. So just trying to think of the team that could then. I mean, Richards, in theory, should just go to right back.
I think we might have gone. Have we gone to 3 at the back now?
Well
a proper 3 at the back. Although can't really see until we get it.
Conor Douglas is playing centre midfield, so it should be Richards to right back, Douglas to 10.
Yeah.
McDonald and Vincent's gone to 9. So that's what's happened. So Donald's right wing. Douglas is 10, Vincent's 9, and Richards is back to his normal spot of right back. Just the several personnel changes with one sub, but of course it might be the injection they need. We know what quality McDonald has offered, especially in previous games in the National League Cup when Leeds were under the cosh. He dragged them out as a heavy touch from Acheampong concedes a throw, and Leeds will have a bit more field position.
Again, we're putting ourselves under pressure, aren't we, from the back? I know we really like to play out from the back, and I keep saying it, but sometimes you have to miss them out, and we're putting ourselves under pressure when there's absolutely no need, to do that. Let's, put it onto Mahady's right foot and let him put his foot through it, get it up into Middlesbrough's half, because we have struggled to get into Middlesbrough's half this second half. They've dominated possession, this second half as well, but and they've got the rewards of it with the goal. So, we need to get back into thinking that we need to get forward, we need to get back up into their half, we need to play football in their half of the pitch and not be playing football in our 18-yard box.
Mahady to Moore. Douglas dropping into left wing back to try and receive possession. Gets a nudge in the back. Bailey, no interest in chasing down the number 9. Who's got most of the dirt on his back from that fall a minute in when he was trying to score. Here is Pickles, back to Mahady. McDonald peeling away at right wing back to get a bit of support and help. Just like Leeds, Borough's change will change things for them a little bit. You could clearly tell Finch was a key player as Mahady goes backwards. Not sure who's more nervous, him or Andy Cousins sat alongside me. Here is McDonald, still going, great feet, and wins his team a throw.
People have said, well, it was a good play because we ended up getting to the halfway line, but I'm nervous here watching. And I think as a player, as a manager, as people in the stands, they will also be nervous, especially when your keeper turns around and goes towards his own goal. In that sense, I think I love that they want to play football sometimes. I really do, but I just think sometimes we're putting ourselves in so much bother. We've missed the middleman out. We've suddenly got a little bit more space, but Middlesbrough are working so hard around the football pitch that we need to create that space and we need to just drop it in. If our number 8 comes in towards the two centre halves, there's going to be a bit of space behind it. We know Mahady likes to get hold of that ball, and we know that he can play that ball into. I'd just like to see him miss. That's a clear free kick there. I'd like to see him miss the back four and the midfield and just drop it into that centre forward, and then our midfield can turn, and then we can actually get the ball down on the floor, and we can play our football where we like to play. I don't like watching us play football when somebody's putting so much pressure on us in our own box.
Just looking, the number 3 is the one that's carded. That is Oliver Samuels. Good free kick opportunity this.
I think we need this ref on a Saturday with his marking out. I don't see 10 yards there as well. I see about 12.
Pickles will hope it works in Leeds' favour, this ambitious markings. These are several players queuing up if the clearance comes out to the edge of the box. The referee has eyes on a situation in the area. Pickles does float it. Coming in is Moore, header up and over the bar. You can see why he's the target. He often was the target in his early days for set pieces, Chris Moore. He's just got the execution wrong, but still he attacked it with venom. A little bit unlucky. And since the changes, it hasn't been Borough on top, and you've got to take that as a positive.
No, absolutely. We have started to be a little bit more going forward, which is what we want. Nice little ball in there. He's just, the jump itself, he's just got a little bit underneath it, which is easily done as a centre half coming in. From them positions, you're not going to pick it up every time perfect, but a little bit more encouraging in that sense. But we have to have a spare man. There's got to be, because they're pushing onto us so much. There's got to be a spare man. Our two wingers really are the players who should be finding some space within this formation from Leeds' point of view, because they are pushing onto us so much. I'm looking at it now. Our right back's disappeared somewhere, and we need to. As he just goes down the right hand side there, we're on top of him there, which is fantastic. Good defending from the boys there. basically twos up on him, which is what you want from your, that's your number 9 coming back, isn't it? It's your captain Douglas coming back to help out, which is what you want. But we've got to have a spare man somewhere. If Middlesbrough are going to keep this pressing game going on, we have to have a spare man. That spare man will be one of our wingers, and they've got to go and find that little bit of space.
Ferguson tries to be a wide player in space, does get a touch of the ball, intercepted by McCormick, who just came off second best with that. He was limping away from the challenge. And the referee's going to have a look at him. Monteiro checks he's okay, and yet it's just a knock that was just trying to get his breath back. There's no delay of the game from him. Monteiro with a clap of the hands for the pass from Mahady. Leeds still have plenty of time left to get back into this game. As I said, it's an important final 2 league games. Leeds occupy 16th in the table. That is the final playoff spot in this new Premier League 2 structure. But losing is far from ideal, with other teams around them having games in hand. There's another sub getting ready for Borough. Lindo is stripped and ready to go as Nfonkeu tries to play it to Ferguson, doesn't get the power on it, and it goes wide. Nottingham Forest, by the way, who are 17th, they are drawing at the minute. So they will gain a point on Leeds and have a game in hand. As this sub can be made. And does look like Sykes is the number that's signalled to be ready to come off the field of play. And maybe due to that, you never know, Andy, have the coaching staff said, right, let's have a big 20 minutes second half, then we'll start to get the players off, try and re-energise them, because a lot of them have really emptied the tank in this first half of the second half.
They have, but if you're 21-year-old and you're knackered after 25 minutes of the second half, I think Tinks will be thinking, come on, that shouldn't be happening at this time. And also, the first teams will have their squad, so none of these lads will be involved with the first teams tomorrow. Because that's the only other thing when you've got a midweek game, are they going to be involved? Some good play down the right-hand side again. So it's not something that we'll be thinking about, to be honest with you. That will be just a tactical change. Plain and simple, from Middlesbrough's point of view, and that's what we've done from our point of view. These lads could play 3 games a week if they were asked to, without a shadow of a doubt. They're still very, very young, and still all they want to do is play for Leeds United, which is a very privileged position to be in.
Yeah, Vincent picks up Pickles' cleared corner. He makes it very difficult for his teammate to get the ball back, but Pickles deals with it. Richards forced back. Borough trying to force him into a mistake. McDonald's picked up as a Borough player gone down in back play. Referee hasn't seen it. Poor ball out wide. It's Vincent. 2 players miss it for Borough. McDonald's got back to it now. Referee being alerted to the situation for the Borough player further upfield. Leeds still continuing to go. Borough claiming it's a head injury, which of course if it is, the referee will have to come back to this, but for now he isn't. Douglas deflected cross. This might work in Leeds' favour more. Monteiro looking to bring it under control. Borough clear again. Ferguson going for it. Still Leeds are trying to attack, and the Borough player, he's still down and now slowly getting to the feet, looking across the 6 yards, looking across to the bench to demand an explanation. Douglas, it'd be controversial if Leeds score from here. Ferguson still going. He has Nfonkeu to his outside, uses him as a decoy, crosses the ball in. It will need to bounce favourably for Leeds to get a corner. That header has certainly helped their cause, but Dede clears and out towards Debayo. And still the ball hasn't gone out. I think it was Stott that was down from the head injury. He's now back up and played the ball back. Here is Lennon, and now Stott, after being on the floor, was racing forward. Borough, after all of this, will win the free kick. And it all got a little bit...
Play on.
Yeah, I say that should be play on, but it all got a little bit confusing for a second. Referee clearly thought there was nothing in it.
Yeah, he went down, didn't he, holding his face, which normally means they're going to put, blow the whistle and stop the game. What you're seeing nowadays in first team football, and I'm not saying this is happening here, is if they go down and they're tired or whatever, they hold the face and the referee then picks it up. For me, go back to the old school. referee will blow his whistle. If he needs to blow his whistle, he'll blow his whistle. We stop then. If you don't stop until that point, you keep going until the referee blows his whistle. And now he's getting a yellow card for, his, disgruntled about the decision. He thought clearly that he was fouled in his face or something like that, but he looks perfectly fine.
Yeah,
now.
Dissent sees the number 10 carded, which is Jack Stott. Referee not happy, said the game wasn't able to go back on. Monteiro and a few others giving out instructions. Borough asking for an explanation of why the game has stopped. Everything's gone a little bit astray out on the pitch at the LNER Community Stadium. Pickles launches the ball clear. Acheampong to the byline, now cuts back and goes past Richards, but that touch could be heavy. In fact, he's just kept it alive. Moore heads clear, but only to the edge of the box. Not the best effort coming in from James, thankfully for Leeds. Dede picks up the loose pass. Ferguson now on Nfonkeu. Can't afford to bring down Bailey. Nfonkeu gets a timely challenge as Pickles gathers back to Moore. But again, there is that rampant pressure. Anytime a Leeds defender gets it, you can almost just see two red flashes of the players, whichever closest to the ball, charging to try and make a mistake.
Yeah, they're right on top of us, aren't they? They've been right on the top of us, to be fair, since the second half began. They've obviously changed their thought process. They've had a chat, at half time about Leeds having too much time on the ball at the back, and they've been good this second half for Middlesbrough, because they've put the pressure on us. The first half we had a lot more of the ball in the first 20-25 minutes and created 3 or 4 great chances. But the second half, we've not created anything just yet. It has been Middlesbrough who have been putting the pressure on from that very first whistle of the second half starting.
Borough still on the attack, this time with McCabe, who's been pretty tidy in possession for Borough. Lindo goes wide to Dede. Ferguson trying to block the pass, showed him inside to force a mistake, wasn't to be. McCabe again into Lennon, who again, one of those danger players for Borough. Acheampong puts into a dangerous area if he could have had a teammate. Still think perhaps the cross was too high. Mahady gratefully catches it. A couple of further subs warming up for Leeds. For now, it's only McDonald that has entered the field of play, and here is the sub. It's into Pickles. Now Ferguson. A real direct running from him. Then he gives the ball away. There's another sub being prepared for Leeds. There's Monteiro has a glance at Ferguson to almost give him a kick up the backside from afar. Pickles does well, turns away, rolls it out to the right hand side this time for Douglas, who's dropped in. Wide it goes to Richards. It's Boast that's getting ready on the bench for Leeds United. 15 minutes to go. Back to Debayo.
First bit of pressure we've really had from the, in the second half, isn't it? And we're keeping the ball very well, but we're not really going too far. But it's the first time we've had any kind of possession.
Douglas intercepted and taken off the ball. Bailey has got Lennon to his left, tries to play it, gets there, it goes underneath the legs of Debayo. Into a dangerous position he goes. Leeds having to try and trap back. Richards, still not fully clear, is now as McDonald gathers. But Leeds have so many dangerous players, that has to be a free kick. And Vincent will have felt that one from George McCormick.
Went straight to the back of him there, didn't he?
Well, this is a rugby league stadium, of course, joint use. Can maybe see the confusion. He's maybe just got confused, seen the lines on the pitch and thought, I need to put a big shot on.
We won't say anything about the big Guinness in the middle of the pitch as well, and I think that's more for our point of view than the players' point of view. But, we just need to get hold of the ball a little bit more. We just need to keep possession, because we've had none really this second half. The Middlesbrough team have worked very, very hard from in the second half from the very first whistle, and they're still working very hard to make sure that we don't have any time of the ball. And I don't see too much in that one. I think that was just a tired turn, from Ferguson there, but and he's given away the free kick as 15 for, which is Palmer for Middlesbrough. But here comes the substitution, which may be needed.
Yeah, so Boast to replace Nfonkeu may mean that McDonald swaps flanks, which is naturally where McDonald would like to play. We'll see if that is how it pans out. What do you think? Scott, are you concerned at the lack of chances as well, second half?
I think he will be from the second half. I think he's scratching his head a little bit, because the first half we obviously created quite a lot of chances, very good chances. But the second half, we haven't really changed too much. Could we have changed the system a little bit? But that's something which, at under 21 football, you don't like doing, because you're trying to keep the continuity through the ranks. But Middlesbrough have definitely been on top of us this second half. And we've really struggled to break them down, in any way, shape or form. I don't think the keepers had anything to do this second half at all, from Middlesbrough's point of view.
Wide it goes to Lennon. He's beaten Debayo. He's got the pace. Awkward angle, all on his own. Lennon. Leeds can't bring him down. He still runs into Mahady. And Debayo very calmly just walks away as if there's no danger. Lennon's still down. Whether he's got cramp or not, Mahady's not exactly helping him up. Boast goes right through the middle of the attack. That has meant that Vincent has gone wide left. Acheampong, Richards gets across. And this game, certainly Lennon has been we do so much praising of our young players, and rightly so. You could also respect the opposition when they're good, and I think Charlie Lennon has certainly had one of those nights where Leeds would be happy to see the back of him. Yeah,
there's a few of the Middlesbrough players which have played quite well, to be honest, and that's it's been a credit to them, to be fair, because the first 15-20 minutes, it was all Leeds, and we were dominant, and then they kind of got a grip of the game a little bit at that point. I've got to give credit to my old teammate, Tinks. He's got him in there at half time, and it's a different team that's come out of the second half to what it was in the first half, and we haven't really raised our game to to the challenge really as well. But there's a corner here, we need to defend properly on this one.
Yeah, headed back inside. Boast will come back to get to the ball. Strong header, cushions it away. Now tries to play it around the outside. It's an awkward pass. He's managed to at least turn something into an attack. McDonald, the one that was trying to get to Dede, and the right back went for the no-nonsense clearance. There's a number 12 coming on for Middlesbrough as well. That will be Rio Patterson-Powell. The referee just allowed this play to continue. It will be the next stoppage from the officials as Richards goes back to retrieve possession. Back out to Monteiro. Fired into the feet of McDonald. His touch wasn't good. He tried to make something of it. Borough get to it first, though.
First to everything in the second half, haven't they? They really have.
Strong challenge coming in from Douglas, really wholehearted, and then he's got the elusive speed to get away. Tries to play in Boast. He's a lucky Douglas. A bit old school in that approach. He went for a full-blooded challenge, then the finesse pass. Here's Pickles. Leeds might be able to try and get onto the curtails or something here after that attack. Vincent cuts inside. Opportunity to try and pick out that forward corner. It isn't a million miles away, but it's the best opportunity Leeds have had with 10 minutes to go in this second half.
Yeah, when he cut in there, you fancied him a little bit. Great little play in the middle of the park. It's the first time that we've actually got hold of the ball. He's coming on his right-hand side, and he's taken the two players on. It just opens up for him nicely, and he tries to curl it in the top corner. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit too high, but much better from Leeds' point of view. We're on the front foot, doing the same as what Middlesbrough have been doing to us. We've really pushed in there, and we got the little bits, and we picked up the loose ball and played it out wide, and we got the opportunity. We need to do a little bit more of that in the last 10 minutes.
So substitution. Charlie Lennon is off. Somebody is listening to me. Let him have a break. That young man needs a rest. He's replaced by Rio Patterson-Powell.
As you say, he's played well, hasn't he? Lennon he's run his socks off there for 80 minutes for his team and created a few bits as well. But that might have been more of a tired legs situation, because he's not stopped tonight, hasn't Lennon.
Yeah, ball back into middle of the park. Mahady scoops it clear into McDonald. Naturally wants to run with the ball. McDonald, it's his best asset. Awkward situation there to do so as Debayo gets caught on the ball. Here is Stott. McDonald trying to wrestle it back for Leeds. Important areas, this is where Leeds can't afford to get frustrated, concede a free kick, little kick out here and there.
Got to keep our shape as well, because if Middlesbrough get the next goal, then it's game over. We've still got to be sensible at the back, because if we get the point out of this at the minute, then I think the manager will be quite happy with that, the way the second half has gone. But there's still, with extra time on top of what the referee's going to give you, it's most like another 10 minutes left, and we've had one opportunity really, haven't we? This second half, as I said, I've been really impressed with Middlesbrough this second half. They've been really good. They've really put a lot of pressure on our lads, and as you said, Tom, when you're going to give some credit to the Leeds lads, because that's who we watch, that's who we want to be successful, but you got to give credit to this Middlesbrough team, because they've rose to the challenge this second half.
Yeah, Ferguson was nearby, but that was actually Douglas's foul, and he is carded. I think they say it's a striker's challenge is the phrase they use.
Yeah, we always say the strikers can't stay up front, score the goals, pick up the money. That's what the strikers are there for. Midfielders are there to do the doggy work, and the defenders are there to defend and keep clean sheets. So, the attackers sometimes are not the best tacklers in the world.
McDonald just spotted a gap there that was nearly exploited by Borough. Tracks back, and that's forced them back towards the centre circle. Ferguson nips in, tries to play it sideways to McDonald. Now he has. McDonald goes wide to Vincent. Little toe on the ball from Lindo.
Keeps well there, defender.
Yeah, very well.
He just got his touch in just in time, because I think he might have been away from him then.
Yeah, Boast immediately puts the arms into the chest of the Borough player. Wanted that ball into his feet, gets it. Ferguson to Vincent, who stays on side. Boast looking for the ball in the middle, doesn't get to it, but it's a dangerous ball in that will win Leeds a set piece. With Boast on the pitch, they've gone a lot more direct. 6 minutes left.
It looks like he's just putting himself about a little bit, doesn't he? Looks like he's got full of energy. He's wanting to try and get down the sides. Quite likely he just pinned his centre half there. He's got his arm around him and stuff, and got hold of the ball and played it nice and simple. And his first thought is always to get back into the box. So Pickles once again with the corner. High underneath the goalkeeper, who gets a good hand to it. Takes a bit of Boast with him as a Leeds player that's gone down in back plate. There's another Leeds player on the deck. I think it's been given as a free kick. Foul on Richards. It's Chris Moore that's limping in the 6-yard box. So Borough contest the decision. Appeals are unheard. Now we can count out the steps. He's counted to 10. He's counted to 10.
Whether he's got a really long stride.
But he's counted to 10, but then when he puts the line down, it's like another yard,
Here's Pickles again.
It's like you're marking of a golf ball.
Over the set piece. I need to be on the green to mark it, as Borough have a goal lead. Let's hope that he's not for much longer. Floats the ball to the far post. Debayo
half a chance. Maybe
took it off the head of Moore. You said it there, half a chance. It's not clear cut, but do they feel they should do better?
Yeah, it's half a chance, isn't it? The ball's just a floaty one which has come across. It's not one which is whipped in, and he's got up there. It feels like he's just leapt that little bit too early, but he's above everybody, and I think that's half a chance there. You can see the movement here. He's right in the middle of the box. He gets free. It's half a chance. Half a chance.
Yeah, changes. Elton Simo is on. He has replaced Douglas. Chris Moore's also come off the pitch. He's been replaced by Howard. So Scott Gardner's put in his complementary of all outfield players on the pitch for the final 4 minutes. We may get a little bit of stoppage time, of course. We had none in the first half, but we did have Finch go off with a hamstring injury. in the start of the second half. So let's see if that gives Leeds any more time that they need for an equaliser, as Samuels plays it down the line. Stepping across is Howard to get to the ball. Referee says there's a touch out of play first, so Leeds get the throw in.
I said that first half, we didn't even get a second of extra time, did we? So, hopefully he's putting it onto the second half here, because there's definitely a few stoppages which he needs to put a bit of time on for. But look, we shouldn't be in this position. After the first half, we had some really good chances, and we needed to take them, because sometimes when you're on top, you have to take your chance at that point, because football changes. And this second half is certainly nothing like what the first half was for Middlesbrough. They've worked their socks off. They've pressured us, all the way up the football pitch, and made it very difficult for us to play out and play our own style of football, which is a credit to Middlesbrough.
Yeah, it's an awkward pass that for Pickles to receive. He's had an ambitious shot there as
and that was proved the point.
Palmer.
Exactly what we've been talking about all game. This second half in particular, they are putting so much pressure on us. You can see here, there's nobody to put it into. It's kind of quite hard to watch sometimes when you're thinking it just needs somebody just to, kind of be the captain on the football pitch and say, look, guys, we need to change this a little bit. We need to miss this out. Let's not put ourselves under pressure.
Yeah, McDonald did all the hard work. Pass to Simo goes behind him. So Borough capitalise. Howard now putting the pressure to try and close them down. Borough looking for that all-elusive second goal that will kill the tie. At the other end, Leeds looking for anything for a desperate equaliser. Certainly helps their chances of playoffs this season. Of course, they've already got the National League Cup final to look forward to. So isn't all doom and gloom. Forest are still drawing in their game, by the way. That is with Sunderland. The likes of West Brom will have 2 games in hand on Leeds, as will Liverpool, although that is the last game of the season for the Reds. They will host Leeds a week Sunday. Mahady to Pickles. Under pressure, glances over both shoulders, goes back to Howard. Evades Richards. Into Vincent. Still going, Vincent. Needs a bit of help. Had to turn the other way. Referee gives the free kick. Borough don't feel there's much in that. Monteiro, if he could turn the other way, Pickles is in so much space. Simo again. A minute left of regulation time. Pokes it down the line very well to Richards, who's going to have to maybe go on his own a little bit. Out to Boast. McDonald on his inside in the 16 jersey. Goes behind him to Simo once more. Leeds not panicking as if time's against them. It's a lot more methodical than perhaps you would expect at 89.5 minutes. Mahady to Simo. Lacking pace, that pass. The sub with a heavy touch. Second time around loses the ball. And now Borough capitalise with Patterson-Powell turning away from trouble. Monteiro with a desperate lunge to get back. And then an even more desperate tackle will take us into stoppage time.
Yeah, disappointing again, wasn't it? There's no need to make that mistake there of that tackle there, because you're just relieving all the pressure from their point of view. They can keep hold of the ball, keep it moving, see down the clock. We need there's 5 minutes of extra time, so still a little bit of time in there, but you want that opportunity just to grab when you from Leeds' point of view, we expect to at least get one chance within that 5 minutes with the home team. We'd expect us to be going forward a little bit. But 5 minutes, anything can happen.
Yeah, Borough have set up here so that Leeds can't play it short where they want. They don't want to go long. Just wasted a little bit more time. Richards, really bad pass into the channel. Shot will come in, Mahady. I don't know whether he dived and then fell, but if that could have been squeezing at the near post, I think it was going in. Mahady almost come across his goal. Lost his balance by my reckoning there. Andy, do you agree?
I just feel like I'm repeating myself all the time on this one. It's every single time we get into the ball at the back and we're just trying to play out. And, somebody, as they come forward here, there's half a chance here from Middlesbrough's point of view.
Another second opportunity. But look, referee's given a penalty. He's claimed Monteiro's handled the ball, and that will be that, you'd feel, if they can score this. Despite Monteiro's protests, Middlesbrough did appeal immediately. Leeds have been guilty of trying to play out from the back too many times.
All comes from our own mistakes, doesn't it? It all comes from what we're just talking about. You know, we're playing out from the back. We're trying to play, you know, pretty football. Sometimes you have to put your foot through it, and that's the perfect example. Is it a penalty? You know, it comes out. I think it's a harsh one, to be fair. You know, but he has put his arm out there. It has gone. You know, you can see the movement. You know, you can see why the referee's given the penalty on that one. But we have to learn from our mistakes. It's been all this second half. Every time we pass the ball out from the back, we lose it. And we put ourselves under so much pressure. And this is the result of that pressure. A penalty now to Middlesbrough to finish the game off.
Yeah, Jack Stott to take. Roy Mahady needs to make a save if Leeds have any opportunity to rescue something from this tie. The referee blows the whistle, so up steps the number 10. Stutters, finishes emphatically. That will be game, set, and match. Borough, second half, have been very dominant, and they have not played like a team in 24th, and Leeds will need to hope results go their way in the next few days to ensure that last game of the season can have something riding on it, because unfortunately, after that success on Tuesday, it's part of youth football, Andy. Such a high, it's difficult to maintain those standards. You have to learn that along the way. You
do have to learn, and you have to learn to, you know, you're going to play 1 week, you know, with 1,700 people, you know, watching, and the next week you've got 200 people watching. It's part of junior football. You've got to learn. Yes, you've got a high from, you know, from the Altrincham game, and you kind of think, well, actually, you know, let's move that on. And I'm sure the manager before the game would say, let's build that momentum. We've got a final to play. All these players want to play in that final. You know, but the second half, as I said before, we've got to give Middlesbrough a lot of credit. They have come out, you know, with a game plan to really break us down and really put pressure on us from the off, from the two centre-halves, the full-back, the keeper. You know, and this is where I would like a leader just to go, do you know what? We just need to miss out, you know, these guys, and let's go, you know, to our spare man, our number 10 or our number 9 or whoever it will be, and let's play up in their half, because, you know, it's certainly not worked this, you know, this half. We've really struggled, you know, from the back, and yeah, I've got to give credit to Middlesbrough. They're worthy winners at this present moment in time.
Yeah, most definitely. Frustration for Scott Gardner's side as Howard will concede a free kick. I think both players were guilty of the same thing there. Howard was pulled back originally, did the same thing back to try and equal the score. The referee only spotted the latter, and Leeds' players now hope the game finishes as soon as possible, regroup and go again next week. Boast isn't showing the attitude of giving up though, puts the pressure on. McCabe carving his way through. Patterson-Powell goes for power. Debayo has to clear. Ferguson will get more of a decent touch on it. Referee's actually given a free kick going Leeds' way. Mahady caught late.
Yeah, I think he was holding his head there, and the referee saw him. So, you know, if the keeper holds his head, he's got to blow the whistle. But it shows you again. It shows you what Middlesbrough are all about. You know, they've put the pressure on us, and they've got another good chance there with, you know, Powell basically, you know, through on goal, and the keeper's made a good save. But yeah, it's been really disappointing the second half, I've got to say.
Yeah, he did get a kick to his head there, Mahady, for his troubles. The referee does blow for full time, and Middlesbrough pick up that 2-0 success. So Leeds unable to build on that National League Cup final progression. First half had their chances, second half just couldn't get back into that rhythm. And Finch and then Stott wrapping up all 3 points to Middlesbrough. So that's all we've got time for here. We're on LUTV for our under-21s coverage. Best of luck, of course, to the first team this weekend, and we're back next week for more 21s action against Liverpool.